You say fine because it is easier than explaining the truth. I know about the loneliness. Not the kind that comes from being physically alone, but the kind that can find you in a room full of people, the kind that makes you feel like nobody truly sees you, nobody truly understands what it is like to be you, walking this particular road, carrying this particular weight. I know about the dreams that you have quietly stopped talking about. The things you used to say you were going to do, the life you used to say you were going to build, the person you used to say you were going to become. And somewhere along the way, life happened, and those words got quieter and quieter, and now you barely think about them at all because hoping hurts too much when the hoping has not yet turned into having. God sees all of it. Every single layer. Every single room in the house of your pain. And He is not standing at the door judging what He sees inside. He is walking through each room with a lantern and saying, I know this is here. I have known it was here all along. And I did not leave you because of it. I am still here. I have always been here. And I am not going anywhere. Now I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to take a slow, deep breath. In through your nose, hold it for just a moment, and then release it slowly through your mouth. Do it again. Breathe in the peace that God is releasing over your life right now in this very moment. Because this segment of the message is not about striving or trying or doing. This is about receiving. This is about allowing, this is about opening your hands and your heart and letting the goodness of God wash over you like a wave of warm light on a cold morning. God wants you to feel something right now. He wants you to feel what it feels like to be completely and unconditionally loved by the Creator of the entire universe. Not loved because of your performance. Not loved because of your church attendance or your prayer list. Or how perfectly you have been living. Loved simply because you exist. Loved because He made you and He does not make things He does not treasure. Think about that for a moment. The same God who painted the sunset with colors that no human artist could fully replicate, He made you. The same God who designed the complexity of the human eye, the ocean that holds its own secrets, the mountains that stand as monuments to His power, He made you. The same God who knew exactly how many stars to hang in the sky and gave each one a name, He knew your name before your parents did. He called you beloved before the world had the chance to call you anything else. Before the labels. Before the failures. Before the rejections. Before the diagnoses. Before any voice in your life ever had the opportunity to define you, God had already written the truest definition of who you are in the pages of eternity, and that definition says chosen. It says valuable. It says irreplaceable. It says loved beyond measure. And right now, in this moment, I want you to feel the weight of that love settling over your shoulders like a warm blanket. I want you to feel the tension in your body begin to release as the peace of God, which genuinely passes all human understanding, begins to do what it promised to do in your mind, in your spirit, and in your body. You are not fighting alone. You have never been fighting alone. Every single battle that has worn you out, every single mountain that has exhausted you, every single valley that has confused you, there has been a God standing right beside you who never ran out of strength, who never stopped interceding, who never once lost sight of you in the crowd of 8 billion people on this earth. You are not a number to God. You are a name. You are a face. You are a story that He is personally invested in seeing reach its beautiful, redemptive, glorious conclusion, and that conclusion is not a tragedy. I need you to hear that. The story of your life does not end in defeat. It does not end in lack. It does not end in loss. The author of your story is the same God who specializes in turning the most impossible situations into the most powerful testimonies. He turned a grave into a resurrection. He turned a prison into a palace for Joseph. He turned a shepherd boy into the greatest king Israel ever knew. He turned water into wine. He turned 5 loaves and 2 fish into enough for thousands. Do you think the God who did all of that is standing in front of your situation and scratching His head? Do you think the God of the impossible looks at what you are going through and says, I do not know what to do with this? No. He is already working. He has already been working. And the peace you are beginning to feel right now is not just an emotion. It is a signal from heaven that says, I have this. I have you. Rest in me now. We need to go a little deeper. Because there is something God wants to address that lives beneath the surface of the pain, beneath the circumstances, beneath even the prayers. There is an identity question that has been following you around for a long time. And it is time to answer it once and for all. Someone watching this video right now has been living with a secret belief that they are not quite enough. Not broken enough to give up entirely, but not quite good enough to fully step into everything God has promised. You exist in this in-between space where you know God is real, you know His promises are real, but somehow, some quiet persistent voice keeps telling you that those promises are for other people, not for you. The people with cleaner histories. The people with stronger faith. The people who have not made the mistakes you have made. The people who did not waste the years you wasted. And so you watch from a distance as blessing after blessing seems to land on the lives of people around you, and you genuinely rejoice for them. You truly do, but in the privacy of your own heart you wonder, when is it my turn? Why does it always seem like I am the one who has to wait the longest? Why does breakthrough come for everyone in my circle except for me? Why do I have to keep believing when the evidence keeps coming back negative? I need you to look at yourself in the mirror of this message right now. Because what I am describing is not a coincidence. What I am describing is you. And I am not describing it to expose you or embarrass you. I am describing it because God told me that the person who needed to hear this the most is the person who has been the most faithful in secret, who has been the most diligent in the darkness, who has been the most consistent when it felt like consistency was pointless. You have been faithful when nobody was watching. You have kept praying when the answers were not coming. You have kept giving when you barely had enough for yourself. You have kept showing up, kept serving, kept believing, kept holding on by the thinnest thread of faith, and you have done it all without the applause, without the recognition, without the visible reward. And God is looking at all of that and He is saying, I see every single bit of it. Not one prayer went unheard. Not one act of faithfulness went unrecorded. Not one seed sown in tears was lost in the ground. Every single thing you have done in faith, every single sacrifice you have made in obedience, every single step you have taken in the dark, it has been building something. It has been accumulating. It has been adding up in the economy of heaven to a harvest that is now overdue for release. And the reason it has not come yet is not because you are not enough. It is because God has been waiting for the appointed time. And the appointed time is the time when the harvest will be so undeniably large, so visibly abundant, so completely beyond what you could have produced on your own, that there will be absolutely no question in anyone's mind, including yours, that it came from God. He does not want you to be able to explain it with your own effort. He wants the blessing on your life to be so obviously supernatural that every person who has ever doubted you, every person who ever underestimated you, every person who ever wrote you off, they are going to have to stand in silence and watch God do what only God can do. So here is what God is saying about your next season. And I want you to listen very carefully because these are not hollow words. These are covenant words. These are words backed by the character of a God who has never broken a promise in the entire history of creation. God is saying to you today, the season of barely surviving is over. The season of watching others flourish while you struggle is over. The season of praying the same prayer with the same tears and wondering if the ceiling is too thick for your words to penetrate. That season is over. A new season has been decreed over your life, and this new season carries with it a weight of favor that is going to feel almost uncomfortable at first because you are not used to things going well. You are not used to doors opening without a fight. You are not used to provision showing up unexpectedly. You are not used to relationships that pour into you as much as you pour into them. You are not used to your health being restored, your mind being clear, your peace being real and unshakable. But you are going to have to get used to it. Because that is what the new season looks like. That is what the harvest looks like when it finally comes in. And it is not just coming for one area of your life. God does not do partial restorations. When He moves in fullness, He moves in overflow. The blessing that is coming is going to touch your finances and your health and your relationships and your purpose and your peace and your joy all at the same time. And the world around you is going to watch in awe as the God of heaven proves Himself faithful over the life of someone who refused to stop believing even when believing cost them something. The provision that you need is already released. In the spiritual realm, the transaction has already been completed. What you are living through right now is simply the time between the promise being made and the promise being seen. And that gap, as painful as it is closing. It is closing faster than you think. You are not as far from your breakthrough as the enemy wants you to believe. You are not as far from your breakthrough as your circumstances are suggesting. You are right at the edge. You are so close that the blessings are already casting their shadow over where you are standing, and you cannot see them yet, but you can feel them. That is why something in you responded to this video today. That is why your spirit leaned in. That is why you are still here. Because something in you knows that what is being said in this message is not just a nice idea. It is a reality that is already unfolding. And your only job right now is to align your belief with what God has already put in motion now. I have to tell you the thing that nobody else is going to tell you. I have to say what most people will skip over because it is not comfortable, because it does not feel good to hear, because it requires something from you that is more than just passive watching and hoping. Are you still here? Good. Because this is where the real message lives. God is saying to you right now the breakthrough is being held in the hands of your obedience. The miracle is not waiting for a better economy. The miracle is not waiting for your circumstances to align. The miracle is not waiting for the right person to come along or the right door to open or the right timing on a human calendar. The miracle is waiting for you to take the step that you already know you are supposed to take and have been avoiding. You know what it is. You do not need me to tell you. There is something God has been asking you to do, something He has been nudging you toward, something He has whispered into your spirit repeatedly, and you have been saying soon, I will do it soon, when things get a little more stable, when I feel a little more ready, when the fear gets a little smaller. But here is the truth about faith that will change your life forever. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is the decision to move forward in obedience even while the fear is still present. The disciples were terrified in the storm. They were shaking. Their hearts were racing. But the ones who stepped out of the boat did not step out because the water looked safe. They stepped out because they heard the voice of Jesus saying, "Come." And the moment their feet touched the water, the impossible became possible. The moment they moved in obedience, the miracle activated. God is calling you to step out of the boat. He is calling you to make the phone call you have been putting off. To start the business you have been afraid to launch. To have the conversation you have been running from. To return to the prayer life you have been neglecting. To forgive the person you have been holding in unforgiveness, not for their sake but for yours, because unforgiveness is a chain that only restricts the person wearing it. To give the gift you have been holding back. To say yes to the assignment you have been making excuses to avoid. And I know it feels terrifying. I know the gap between where you are and where God is asking you to go looks like an impossible distance. But the God who is asking you to jump is the same God who is already standing on the other side, arms wide open, ready to catch you. He would not ask you to leap if He had not already prepared the landing. He would not call you to something He had not already equipped you to do. You are more ready than you feel. You are more prepared than you know. And the version of you that will exist on the other side of that obedience is going to look back at this exact moment and say, that was the day everything changed. That was the day I stopped waiting for perfect conditions and started walking in the direction of the promise. And that day is today. Right now. In this moment. So let me leave you with this final word that God is speaking over your life as this message comes to a close. He says, I chose you before the foundation of the world. Before the earth was formed, before the stars were placed, before time itself had a name, I already knew your name. I already saw your face. I already loved you with a love that had no beginning because I have no beginning. And that love has not weakened. It has not wavered. It has not been affected by anything you have done or anything that has been done to you. It is the same today as it was when I first breathed life into your lungs. And because of that love, I am telling you today. Hold on. Hold on to the faith. Hold on to the joy that is your strength. Hold on to the expectation that your best days are not behind you. Hold on to the promise that I am working all things together for your good, even the things that do not look good right now, even the things that you cannot make sense of, even the things that have left you sitting in confusion and grief. I am working in all of it. I am weaving every single thread of your story into a tapestry of redemption that is going to be more beautiful than you could ever imagine. And when it is finished, when the full picture is revealed, you will see that not one moment was wasted. Not one tear was pointless. Not one season of struggle failed to serve a purpose. Every single thing worked together to bring you to the moment of your greatest glory. That moment is coming. It is closer than your next breath. And I, the God of all creation, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, I am with you every single step of the way. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Type 1, receive it in the comments if this word touched your heart today. Subscribe so you never miss a word from heaven. And come back tomorrow, because God is not finished speaking to you yet. He has so much more to say.